From Wits and Weights, I'm Philip Pape, and this is Nutrition Science Daily, bringing you the latest in nutrition, fat loss, and health science, all in under 5 minutes. When we talk about ultra-processed foods, the conversation often revolves around their impact on weight gain, or heart health, or blood sugar levels. But what if these foods are also affecting your muscle quality? A recent study sheds light on how diets high in ultra-processed foods can impair muscle health and potentially hinder your fitness goals. Ultra-processed foods, I want you to think potato chips, candy, sugary cereals, fast food. They make up a significant portion of many diets, especially the Western diet. They make something like 2/3. And I am always encouraging people to shift that around and give yourself 10 or 20% allowance for those at most, but the rest whole foods. Now, these foods are engineered to be hyper palatable. That means they're super tasty. You want to eat a lot of them, and then they don't make you very full, and you could eat more. They're often packed with refined sugars, fats, additives, and they lack essential nutrients like protein, fiber, and vitamins. So they're really highly processed, mushed together, pre-digested food that goes down easy, that's super tasty, and has a lot of calories. And sometimes you want that, but in this case, most of the time you don't. Now, the study, which was published in Nutrients, examined the diets of individuals with varying levels of ultra-processed food consumption, and they found that higher intake of these foods was associated with reduced muscle strength and quality, particularly in older adults. Now, what do we mean by muscle quality? We mean the functional capacity of the muscle tissue, not just its size. When muscle quality declines, it leads to weakness, reduced mobility, and increased risk of falls and injuries. This is why I'm a huge proponent of strength training. All right, now why does this happen in the context of ultra-processed foods? One factor is probably the nutrient-poor profile. Muscles need protein, essential amino acids, micronutrients like magnesium and potassium to function optimally. And if your diet is dominated by ultra-processed foods, you're not going to get those. It's going to be low protein, low nutrients. Additionally, chronic inflammation, which is a common side effect of diets high in refined sugars and some of these fats, can interfere with muscle repair and growth as well. There's also the issue of satiety or fullness. Ultra-processed foods are less filling. That leads to overeating, and then you're displacing more nutrient-dense foods in your diet. Over time, this creates a cycle where calorie-dense, nutrient-poor foods dominate, leaving less room for the components that muscles really need to thrive. And this all makes intuitive sense, at least to me, for what I see in my practice with nutrition clients and people who lift weights versus those who don't and who are not as active. And so what does this mean for you? If you're looking to maintain or build muscle, which we should all be trying to do, minimizing ultra-processed foods is going to be helpful, but I don't want you to think of it as things to eliminate. I want you to think of, what do I add in? And so here's some strategies to shift toward a more muscle-friendly diet. The first big one is simply to prioritize whole foods and protein. Fiber-containing foods. Base your meals around lean proteins, whether that's meat-based like chicken, fish, whether it's plant-based, tofu, whole grains, vegetables, fats, whole foods. And that's going to start to crowd out some of the processed foods. The second tip I have is to swap out some of your typical more ultra-processed snacks, like, say, chips and candy, with things that satisfy the same sweet or salty or crunchy craving, that are nutrient-dense. Greek yogurt, nuts, roasted chickpeas, fruit. I love fruit for this. And that'll support muscle recovery and growth. And then the third tip I have for you is prepare more of your meals at home. Just don't go out as much. Make meal at home. You're going to save some money. You're going to control your ingredients, make some delicious recipes, probably save time, ironically, because you're not, driving around everywhere and waiting for the service and all that. And then you're going to avoid all these hidden things that are found in packaged foods. Very simple tips that I give to all my nutrition clients, and they work really well. Now, if you have a busy schedule, it's understandable that these foods are convenient, but even little swaps like plain oats instead of the sugary instant oatmeal, or grill your protein instead of frying it, right? That can make a huge difference, and the only difference is kind of how it's prepared or what's in it. Also, this isn't about perfection. So an occasional indulgence is not going to ruin all this. I actually want you to have a balanced profile here where the majority of your diet supports your goals, but there's room for some of these so that you avoid restriction. And they may be convenient, they may be tasty, but always think about, is this supporting my goals, my muscle building, my movement, my quality, my nutrition, in terms of how regular they are in my diet? And if you focus on whole nutrient-dense foods first, you're going to be fine. All right, if this episode gave you a new perspective on how diet impacts muscle quality, follow Wits and Weights, our main podcast, for more evidence-based strategies to fuel your performance and health. Share this episode with someone looking to make better dietary choices. Tomorrow, we'll look at how visceral fat is linked to future Alzheimer's risk and what you can do to protect your brain health.